Well, good morning or good afternoon. This is the final assessment for this class. How this will work is you can pull out a piece of paper and a pen, or you may use your laptop, tablet, phone, however you want to write down your answers. Questions will be appearing on this video, and then you will mark down what you believe to be the correct answer. Once we have run through all of the questions, then we will run through the questions again with the correct answers. All right, so let's get started. Question 1. In both mastery measurement and curriculum-based measurement, A, student skills are rarely assessed. B, student skills are never assessed. C, student skills are assessed frequently. Or D, student skills are only assessed at the end of the unit. Question 2. With mastery measurement, A, teachers present a new skill after students achieve mastery of the prior skill. B, teachers present new skills regardless of the student's achievement. Or C, teachers present a large number of skills at one time. Question 3. Which of the following is not something that students perceive as useful to feedback on their work? A, non-judgmental. B, vague. C, timeliness. D, from a credible source. Question 4. True or false? It is important to understand your students and where they come from. Question 5. Braille or large print exam booklets are examples of A or an A, accommodation, B, modification, C, both, D, neither. Question 6. IDEA was enacted to A, make it more difficult to test students for disabilities, B, keep disabled children in private schools, C, force parents to homeschool disabled children, or D, give disabled children the opportunity to receive a free, appropriate public education. Question 6. True or false? Fairness means that everyone gets the same treatment. Question 7. The screening process helps schools to A, set up assessments for students with disabilities, B, identify students with potential learning disabilities, or C, monitor the progress of students with disabilities. All right, now we have some questions on the bell curve. So what I need you to do first is draw your bell curve. It should look something like this. And once you have completed that, we will begin. We have 0 standard deviations. And then we have 1, 2, 3. -1, -2, -3. So what I need you to do, we've listed the standard deviations, 1 standard deviation, 2 standard deviation, 3 standard deviation, and so on and so forth. What I need you to do is to list the standard score that correlates to the appropriate standard deviation. And then, once you have done that, Please list using the terms well below average, average, above average, and superior average, and match the term with the appropriate standard score. So match one of the terms with the appropriate standard score. And then, once you have done that, you will match the percentile with the appropriate standard score. So your completed bell curve image will have these standard deviations, -3 to 3. They will have standard scores for each standard deviation. They will have a percentile affixed to each standard score, and a term, well below average to superior average, that matches up with the standard score and percentile. So now we'll go over the answers. So for question 1, in both mastery measurement and curriculum-based measurement, C, students' skills are assessed frequently. You want to make sure that you are seeing how the students are progressing, if they are gaining these skills, if they are learning and acquiring these skills, in an effective manner at the right rate that they should be. With mastery measurement, A, teachers present a new skill after students achieve mastery of the prior skill. This is important. You can't move on until they have accomplished the task. You can't, introduce new skills without the students having shown proficiency in the previous skill. Which of the following is not something that students perceive as useful to feedback on their work? The correct answer is B. So we have to, obviously look and see that the question has a not in it. And vague feedback is not good because students need to know, where they need to improve. And in order for them to improve, teachers giving feedback, or whoever's giving feedback, they need to be as specific as possible. They need to point out where the student needs to improve, how they need to improve, and that is how students, can progress. True or false, it is important to understand where your students come from. This is very true. And this, is with regard to students who are coming from outside of the area, whether it's a different state or a different country, but also students coming from the area. It's important to know, where they're coming from, what their home life may be like, what circumstances they live under, because that is important to, how they interact with other students, how they interact with you as a teacher. And obviously, we as teachers can't and shouldn't know everything about our students, but it's important to know as much as possible because it'll help us to interact with the students, and it'll help us to understand why they may be having, certain difficulties or certain issues in and out of school. Braille or large print exam booklets are examples of an A, accommodation. It's an accommodation because it doesn't change the test at all. It doesn't change the assessment. It just changes how the assessment is given. And it accommodates someone who has problems with their vision. and they need this accommodation in order to effectively take the assessment. But it does not change any of the material that's on the assessment. It just changes how it is presented. IDEA was enacted to give disabled children the opportunity to receive a free and appropriate public education. Plain and simple, before, this was not a guarantee. They were excluded from free, appropriate public education. IDEA changes this. It is, inclusive, and it allows students of all abilities to, go and receive a free, appropriate public education. True or false, fairness means that everyone gets the same treatment. This is false, and if we think back to the Fat City workshop with Rick Lavoie, who was the moderator of that, he ended with the thought that fairness does not mean everyone gets the same treatment. Its fairness means that each student receives the treatment or help that he or she needs in order to progress and succeed. So it's not the same. It is particular to, the individual students, and the students get the treatment that he or she need to succeed. The screening process helps schools to identify students with potential learning disabilities. This is really the first step in the process. It is, screening means that you are figuring out which students may have learning disabilities. Now on to the bell curve. And I've already put in the standard scores, underlined in red. And you notice that each standard score, correlates to a specific standard deviation. So we start here with 100. The mean, 0 standard deviations. And then 115 to 1 standard deviation, 130 to 2 standard deviations, 145 to 3 standard deviations, 85 to -1, 70 to -2, 55, -3. So we notice that with each standard deviation, we either increase or decrease by 15. All right, so as you move up the scale, you increase by 15. As you move down to the left, you decrease by 15. So these are the standard scores underlined in red, matched up with the standard deviation. Now, as for the terms that we had to match up with the standard scores, we'll start here with 70. And this is well below average. And then as we move over to 85 with -1 standard deviation, below average. This is average. 115 at 1 standard deviation is above average, and 130 at 2 standard deviations is superior. And then with the percentiles, right here at 100, we'll do this in blue, is the 50th percentile. Okay, and then as we move up, there's a jump, 84th percentile, and then up here with 130 at 2 standard deviation, 98th percentile. Moving down, 16th percentile, and then down here, the 2nd percentile. So we have here right in the middle, 50, and then moving up, 84th percentile, 98th, 16th, and 2nd. thank you for taking this assessment with me. It was very nice, and I hope you enjoyed it.